Students and teachers scrambled when shots rang out Thursday afternoon near the Student Union building on the FSU campus in Tallahassee.
I didn't see the shooter, but I saw the kids running away. I heard some screaming. And the shots, like 3 rounds of like 5 shots, and then 7 shots. So it must have been some back and forth going on.
Officers quickly engaged and wounded the gunman, identified as Phoenix Eichner, believed to be an FSU student.
Our citizens should feel some degree of comfort knowing that your law enforcement agencies are going to respond and do exactly what we did in this.
It's in poor taste, but Democrats are using this latest tragic news for political purposes. President Trump signs a shocking executive order that affects millions on Social Security, and former federal prosecutor says that allegations against New York AG Letitia James look serious. Guys, there is a lot that we need to talk about today. So let's go ahead and get started with the shooting that happened at FSU. So here's one of their students talking about their firsthand experience about this particular event.
Just sitting down doing my work and the alarm goes off. At first you're thinking it's just a fire alarm. It sounds a little different though. And I'm just hearing active shooter and you kind of just like panic a little bit in the moment. You're just like, damn, is that real? Like, take a little bit to process it, then you get to your safe area. I went to a little cubby space and then you just look down at your phone, look at the news and like start to process it. Like, people just got shot a couple feet away from me. After like 20 minutes, they told us to put our hands up, and we come out to like first armed security and all that, and they told us to have our hands up and walk out here. Before the sirens came on, I mean, in the library, you heard these sirens, and like it was really loud everywhere. And when we're leaving out of the library, we did see armed forces just like directing us out, hands up, all around. I don't really know how to describe it. It's just like, wow. Never really expected to be in a situation like this. You always see it on the news. Being in it is definitely different, but I don't know, I'm probably gonna have to take a little minute to process it, but it's just like, wow, you know, I feel bad for people that did get injured. It's like, could have been me.
Now, first off, guys, this is really sad for our country. And I understand that there are probably more questions rather than answers at this moment, but I really have to address how mainstream media and the left are reacting to this. We all know CNN loves to throw out the narratives that are mostly created to try and pin the blame on President Trump, right? Whatever the situation might be, so long as it's dire. Now they have Jaden Denorfio as their guest on one of their shows, saying that he's an FSU student.
This is not the way it should be. It's just not normal for this stuff to happen constantly, over and over and over again. I live 2 minutes from the Capitol here in Tallahassee. And if I were to go speak to the legislators here, specifically, I believe the Republican legislators who are passing these types of bills that allow this stuff to happen, they're going to give me thoughts and prayers. And I don't want to hear that because there's people dying actively, constantly from these kinds of shootings. It's ridiculous that we continue to deal with this.
It's no coincidence that CNN found this kid. They needed a mouthpiece after the shooting, and they needed someone who would be willing to pin the blame on Republicans. Now, I looked for this kid on LinkedIn, and I found something rather interesting. He's actually chairman of the Florida Futures Leaders PAC. This guy is knee-deep in politics, and you saw the difference with the first student that I showed you guys, right? Talking about his experience and not politics, which shows just how low these shows are willing to go. You don't hear about the victims of these situations when we listen to left-wing mainstream media. We hear about propaganda and how they're using these undesirable circumstances for political purposes. It's honestly disgusting to see, guys. Now, if their constituents focus more on politics rather than lives, then it's not surprising to see this, especially if you have guys like Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, who's trying to score a few political points here.
Joining us now, Democratic Senator from Rhode Island, Sheldon Whitehouse. He is the ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on Federal Courts, Oversight, Agency Action, and Federal Rights. Senator, I thank you so very much for your time. As always, I want to just start our conversation with first your reaction to what happened there in Tallahassee.
You know, once again, it is kids paying the price of our adult irresponsibility at creating gun safety for them. And it's for the worst of all possible reasons, which is the influence of the gun industry itself.
Yeah, we still, as I said, there's still so many questions on this, and it's just such Just a horrible tragedy.
And hey guys, I keep getting messages from you guys, comments saying, hey Ron, I keep missing your videos. I keep missing the breaking news. Can you please make sure I get notified? So I've taken care of you guys. All you got to do is hit the link in the description down below this video or in the pinned comment and join the breaking news newsletter. That's it. Totally free. Again, the same narrative, the same message. Something bad happened. It's the fault of the Republicans in office. Par for the course, I guess. Now, President Trump, he did talk about the shooting. Here's what President Trump had to say about it.
Active shooting. I guess it's an active shooter. Fully briefed as to where we are right now. It's a shame. It's a horrible thing. Horrible that things like this take place. And we'll have more to say about it later.
And remember that this is the first time that he heard anything about the shooting. And people criticized him for not talking about it in detail, even though he confirmed that he'll talk about it more once he gets the facts. Which brings me to this soundbite.
There are now 2 deceased following that shooting at Florida State University. Following and amid that, is there any changes that you want to see to gun legislation? Anything you see broken with gun laws in our country?
I'm going to have to look. I'm a big advocate of the Second Amendment. I have been from the beginning. I protected it. And these things are terrible. But the gun doesn't do the shooting. The people do. As far as legislation is concerned, this has been going on for a long time. I have an obligation to protect the Second Amendment.
And that's what Democrats don't want to address. There's a lot that's going on behind the scenes that we don't see. I mean, just take mental health, for example, and how this can affect something like this. And if they want to talk about legislation, they should probably talk to Brad Todd, because he made a very clear point about what happened here. Watch.
Well, Florida law doesn't allow you to carry a gun on campus. So he was violating a law before he ever pulled the trigger. And that's the challenge. You can't legislate someone to not do bad things to other people. We still don't know much. We don't know his state of mind. We don't know his motive. We don't know his health or his emotional stability. All of those things are going to tell us a lot more.
Now, I understand that it's not just Democrats who try to use these shootings for political gain. What we need to understand is that actual people were affected by this, and that both sides of the aisle, they have to come together to actually come up with a solution instead of what they always do, which is just blame the other side for what's happening. Anyway, moving on, guys, let's talk about this executive order from President Trump related to Social Security. Now, as we all know, we as Americans, we pay into the Social Security system in order to get back what we deserve. So Social Security benefits are owed to American workers. This is not some entitlement program. And it's disheartening to know that illegal immigrants also have been able to get access to these Social Security funds. Now, this is something that DOJ exposed a few weeks ago. All of that, though, is about to change as President Trump just signed an executive order that will prevent illegal aliens from receiving any benefits from Social Security. So, guys, this means that only tax-paying Americans are eligible to receive this money. This is in the interest of removing fraud, waste, and abuse from within the SSA, as well as to ensure that future eligible individuals receive the benefits that they deserve. Now, I want to talk about AG Letitia James here for a second, because it looks like she's in a lot of trouble. So here's what former federal prosecutor Andrew Kurkowski had to say about the fraud allegations against Letitia James.
I think they say people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Right. It's beyond ironic that the allegations that she's now facing stem from the exact same types of mortgage fraud or loan type fraud that Trump went through that incredible civil trial on, where he defended himself, and he said that those banks and those financial institutions that he dealt with had acknowledged and had their own fair opportunity to look into and do their research. The allegations against Letitia James are not quite as friendly to her, and they look quite damning. Now, the DOJ is going to start their investigation. That's going to take some time. I don't know how many resources they're going to put behind that. But if these allegations that are being put forth turn out to be true, she is going to be facing the same sort of bankruptcy and turning over of her assets to the state that Donald Trump had to through that trial.
Tell us more about this.
Yeah, well, they reported 5.4% growth from Q1, but that is ludicrous because we're seeing the price data for March showed China's in a deflationary spiral. You know, CPI down 2 straight months, PPI, factory gate prices, down 30 straight months. That is inconsistent with the notion of a robust economy. Plus, also, they got their debt crisis. Their 2008 in slow motion is occurring now. You got the collapse in the property prices that have already occurred. And the other thing is that Xi Jinping has turned his back on consumption as the basis of the Chinese economy. So his only way out is to export more. President Trump has just closed off the world's biggest consumer market by far. I mean, I don't know what Xi Jinping's going to do because Chinese factories have been closing now, and this is just a crisis for him.
Well, give me the investor perspective on that, Mark, of what he's saying.
All right, so I'm going to get very specific here. So we looked at NVIDIA and AMD yesterday, down 7-ish%. Obviously, the administration barred sale of some of the AI chips that they make to China. What I'm reading now is that Jensen Huang, NVIDIA's CEO, just arrived in Beijing, not wearing his typical motorcycle black leather jacket, but instead wearing a suit and tie. Remember, China mentioned that they want respect when it comes to trade. Is there anything we should be reading into that kind of a meeting?
Well, of course, NVIDIA wants to sell more chips to China, and it's allowed a lot of its chips to be sold through China through transshipment through Singapore and other places, which it knew what was going on. Shame on them. But the point here is that once the U.S. starts really restricting chip flows to China, China's AI dreams have really run into a lot of turbulence then. And because everyone says that the struggle for the 21st century is AI, China's in trouble there as well.
The New York Times has an op-ed this morning. It's not hard to imagine a Chinese-led global economy. But what you're saying, and Mark's point, flies in the face of what the New York Times is writing.
Yeah, and it flies in the face of the New York Times reporting. It's just common sense that, we have problems with China on trade because of their predatory and criminal trade practices. Well, of course, other countries also have those same problems, even worse than we do. So, China's not going to be able to stitch up this global coalition that everyone's talking about against the U.S. to reorder the trade order. It's not going to happen. If anybody is going to reorder global trade, it's President Trump with all of these deals that he is now stitching together. And that's going to isolate China because remember, Trump said those countries that deal with us first get the best deals. China is at the end of the tail because they are intransigent.
And Japan.
Guys, this isn't just diplomacy. This is a masterclass in leverage. It's the art of the deal on full display. And we're just getting started here. What we really need to be talking about, and you won't believe how the U.S. economy responded after President Trump hit that 245% tariff button. Grocery prices down, gas prices down, mortgage rates down. And wait until you see the housing reset that just flipped the script on inflation, guys. So what happened after Trump slammed China with that 245% tariff and sent their communist leadership begging for negotiations? Did the markets crash? Did inflation explode like the media warned? Not even close. Ever since President Trump's Liberation Day, April 5th, what was that, about 10 days ago? April 5th, the day he launched his full-scale tariff offensive, key prices across America have been falling. That's right, guys. While the media screamed economic disaster, something remarkable started to happen. Grocery prices down, gas prices down, energy prices down, mortgage rates also down. And the real estate market, well, you're going to love this. So the housing market has just started to reset for the very first time in years. Get this, guys. Over 500,000 new homes have hit the market. This is a number we haven't seen since 2007. Now, let me ask you just real quick. If you're a renter, just type in rent. If you're a homeowner, type in homeowner. I want to see how my audience is split up in the comments here. In key states like Florida, would you ever live in Florida? I know some of you guys do live in Florida. I know some people love Florida. Some people say it's too expensive. Hey, key states like Florida, home prices are plummeting, bringing long overdue relief to buyers that were shut out for years. This is what Trump calls a transition to American greatness. The globalists said that the tariffs would destroy us, but instead, they unlocked the supply chains. They forced fairer trade and triggered a new economic recalibration. And guys, we're only 11 days in. Remember, today's April 16th. Trump's Liberation Day was April 5th. And so now, if the economy is stabilizing, if energy and food prices are easing, and if inflation is cooling, that begs the question, how are the American people feeling about Trump now? Well, the media has been relentless in trying to push the story that Trump voters regret their voting decision. They say voters miss Joe Biden's stability, that they've grown tired of Trump's chaos. What do you say to that? But that fantasy just got obliterated by none other than CNN. Well, yes, even CNN had to face the music. None other than their own data analyst, Harry Enton, he just admitted on air that they regret that basically that regret among Trump voters is almost non-existent. So let's go ahead and break it down, okay? Only 2% of Trump voters say that they would change their vote if they could. 2%. This is the same number as Kamala Harris voters. Even better than that, that number is like half of what it was back in 2017 after Trump's first win. In 2017, it was 4%. Today, it's just 2%. That's right, guys. After 4 years of media brainwashing, legal witch hunts, and nonstop anti-Trump propaganda, his base is stronger than ever now. Harry Enton from CNN, he even said it himself. He said, quote, "The whole idea that Trump voters are regretting their vote is a fanciful universe," end quote. Now, let's just be honest here, guys. If the regret number is lower now than after Trump's first presidency, that means all the political lawfare, the indictments, the smear campaign, it's only made his base more loyal to him, more determined, and more energized. And we haven't even gotten to the whole MS-13 deportation scandal. No, or how about the criminal referral Letitia James just got smacked with, right? But first, guys, if you're tired of sitting on the sidelines while the economy shifts on you, if you know deep down inside that you just can't keep living like this, stressed out about money, fearing about what happens next, whether it's your job, the market, you need to come and check out my course, Stop Living Paycheck to Paycheck Now. Guys, I will walk you through step by step how to build financial strength in any economy, even one that's rigged by elites and foreign powers. So if you're done feeling all alone in this fight, join us. I'll leave a link for you in the description down below. You can also join us in the Liberty Pursuit Network as well, because the next decade will be a battle. And you're going to need a community that fights back. So if you're ready for more, definitely hit us up in the links in the description down below. Next, guys, we need to talk about the Democratic senator who flew to El Salvador to protect an MS-13 gang member, and how that fired or essentially backfired pretty hard to the point of being really embarrassing. It's horrible. Now, just when you thought that the week couldn't get any crazier, I want to take you guys to one of the most bizarre and outrageous headlines that we've seen in a long time. And you're probably not even going to believe this. Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen literally flew to El Salvador on your taxpayer dime, mind you, to try and bring back an illegal immigrant and suspected MS-13 gang member to the United States. You heard that right, guys. Not to protect a veteran, not to bring home a falsely imprisoned American, not to bring home American hostages, but to fight for the release of Abrigo Garcia, an alleged MS-13 member, a man who was in the United States illegally, already deported, accused of some violent gang activity, and reportedly a known national security threat. Why on earth would a sitting U.S. senator go out of his or her way to do this? To score political points? To virtue signal for open borders? Or has the Democratic Party just fully and truly lost all touch with reality at this point? Well, whatever the reason happens to be, the whole thing just backfired in humiliating fashion. El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, responded with a thunderclap. No, I will not help you smuggle a terror suspect into the United States. What? Game over, guys. Van Hollen, he came home empty-handed and rightfully embarrassed. And folks in Maryland, his own constituents, they're furious. They're mad at this guy. While their city is facing all sorts of crime, inflation, and homelessness, this senator of theirs was off playing lawyer for MS-13. Like, you seriously can't make this stuff up, guys. But if you thought that was like some kind of a, I don't know, poetic justice, wait until you hear what happened to one of the most Trump-hating, lawsuit-happy Democrats in American history. Who do you think I'm talking about? Show it. By the way, if you're just now joining live, hit the like button. Definitely subscribe to the channel. And let me know. Just drop a quick yes in the comments here to hear me. Comment down below, who do you think I'm talking about right now? That's right, guys. New York Attorney General Letitia James, the same woman who campaigned on suing Trump every day. We all remember her campaign spiel, right? The one who pushed this bizarre legal theory to charge Trump with fraud over real estate appraisals. She has now been hit with a federal criminal referral for mortgage fraud. Isn't that ironic? Let's talk facts here, okay? So, according to the Federal Housing Finance Agency, James allegedly falsified documents to receive better loan terms. You don't say. Claimed a Virginia home as her primary residence to qualify for a favorable rate. And even listed her father as her husband on paperwork to file jointly. The irony is absolutely savage, guys. This is the same AG who weaponized the law to accuse Trump of inflating real estate values, even though the numbers came from professional appraisers. Now she's the one facing prosecution under Federal Code Section 1014, the same section used to charge people for making false claims to banks. Oh my goodness. Does this woman need to be put in jail or what, right? Fox News, they're reporting the referral has been sent to Attorney General Pam Bondi, who may very well be preparing charges. Now, as you guys understand, Trump appointed Pam Bondi, or essentially nominated Pam Bondi. She got voted in. But get this, guys. If the same legal standard that James used against Trump is applied to her, this is open and shut fraud. That's crazy. This is wild. Talk about an about face, right? And think back to what Letitia James used to say, right? Trump is a danger to democracy. Trump is a danger to democracy is what she used to say. She said, I wake up every day excited to sue him. She said he got rich off the backs of others. And now she might be prosecuted by Trump's own DOJ. That's poetic justice, is it not? But let's go ahead and bring it all home, right? Because if you thought Letitia James' criminal referral was ironic, wait until you see the twisted hypocrisy of the media, the legal system, and the entire anti-Trump political machine that she propped up for years. So let's not forget who Letitia James is. She didn't quietly go after Trump. She bragged about it. She campaigned on it. She literally stood on stage in New York and declared, hey, what is fueling my soul right now is Trump. She also said, I look forward to going into the office every day, suing him, and then going home. And she also said, we're going to be a real pain in the ass. Wow. How is this legal? How is this okay? Like, she didn't run for attorney general to uphold justice. She ran to be a political assassin for the 45th president of the United States. The media celebrated her. They called her brave. They called her a woman of justice. But here we are today, April 16th, 2025. And now she's the one that's facing felony level charges. Wow. What a turn of events here, guys, right? What a turn of events. And not just some minor technicality stuff, guys. This is mortgage fraud, potentially bank fraud and violations of federal lending laws. I mean, all while she allegedly falsified her primary residence, allegedly claimed family members as spouses, allegedly and potentially lied to federal loan agencies for personal gain. So let me ask you something. Where's the CNN panel on this news? Where's the MSNBC meltdown? Nowhere in sight, are they? Because just like with the Russia hoax, the Hunter Biden laptop, the fake Trump indictments, the media only talks when it fits their narrative. And unfortunately, this video is probably not going to get very many views because I'm shedding the light. Now, if you guys appreciate me shedding the light, please, share this video, hit the like button and subscribe. But this is not the first time. But I think we're seeing some change. Not anymore, because the facts are just too loud and the American people are not blind. The American people are not stupid. They think we are, but we're not. So let's take a moment and reflect on this, shall we? So this is the same woman who charged Donald Trump using novel legal theories that legal experts said had never been used before in criminal proceedings. Even Kevin O'Leary said this multiple times. She couldn't find a legitimate crime, so she invented new ones. But now she's under the microscope. Letitia James is under investigation for doing exactly what she accused Trump of, except it sounds like it was worse. Because unlike Trump, she's alleged to have knowingly lied on federal forms, lied to get special treatment, allegedly lied to obtain better loan terms. And guess who's investigating her now? The very justice system that she once weaponized. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't just karma. This is a full circle takedown on the phony moral high ground that Letitia James and her allies built their careers on. So here is the big takeaway from all of this. While President Trump is negotiating peace through strength and forcing China to the table, while the economy improves, while inflation drops, while his base stands firm, the very people who try to destroy him are now crumbling under the weight of their own corruption. And if that doesn't motivate you to take charge of your own future, I don't know what will. Well, don't wait for the next shockwave, guys. Jump inside my course. Stop living paycheck to paycheck now. Because in a system that's this rigged, the only freedom you can count on is the freedom that you build for yourself. Now, I'll leave a link for you in the description down below. Free yourself. And if you're done standing alone, if you're done watching the elites protect their own, you can also join us over in the Liberty Pursuit Network. This is not just a group, it's a movement. It's a movement of patriots who are prepared, principled, and pushing back. All right, guys, that pretty much wraps up this episode, from Trump's crushing 245% tariff takedown of China to the collapse of the media's voter regret fantasy, to the utter implosion of the Democratic legal hit squad. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing the beginning of a massive power shift in this country. So don't just watch it happen. Be a part of it. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know in the comments. Should Letitia James be prosecuted to the full extent of the law? Do you support President Trump's tariff move against China? And are you finally done believing the media's lies? Well, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you guys on the next one. Stay sharp, stay free.